Ok, vamos a grabar entonces. Sí, espero que ustedes estén bien. I do have two little quick housekeeping notes before, and I had to write it down, otherwise I'll forget to tell you guys. La semana que viene, la semana que viene. Even though next Wednesday is the day before Thanksgiving, because this is a morning class, we are running class, so we will have class. And if you're busy with, people coming in, because I know it gets very, very crazy Thanksgiving week. Don't worry about it. No se preocupen. Don't worry about it. If you can, great. If you can't, fine. But we do have class next week. My evening class, they do not run. I think anything after 5:00, they don't run, but you guys will be in. You're on my list. So that's item number one. Item number two is I'm supposed to remind everybody that I almost hate to say it, but they're doing signups again next 27th. So, el 27 de noviembre. 27th, which is a Monday, will be the first day for registration for classes. But I should mention that because, if some of you take multiple classes, and if you do, one of those outdoor, like a tennis club or something like that, where if it fills up, you get blocked out, you do want to know the first day of registration, for all the classes that they offer, because some of them will be, are sometimes limited to number, not like mine. So, okay. 27th, so that everybody knows about that, and I'll put it in the email. Excelente. Ahora vamos a practicar. Espero que ustedes estén bien. Today we're going to do some work on, how to keep conversations rolling and going. We will talk a little bit about those impersonal expressions. Y gracias a Marcos, thanks to Marcos, I sent you an extra thing on those impersonal phrases, and we're going to talk about that, because I don't think with this group I've talked very much about the whole subjunctive thing. Creo que no, I think I haven't. Yeah, we may have touched on it a little bit, but not that much. But it does happen a lot. I've got an instructive video I will probably send you to watch later, because it'll be a reinforcement of what we'll do today. So those are the main two things. We'll see if you have any questions on the movie video. Did anybody watch the movie video? The guy complaining about the movie? Sí, Pablo, sí. Bien.
I'd like to see him do one about riding on an airplane.
Oh, actually, he has a whole series, but part of it is under his premium page, of how to complain to people, which was negative, but oddly really interesting. There's one there's one of them I may actually peg that you can listen, that's not on the premium channel. But, just the various travails we go through when we are on the phone or in person, trying to fix something that isn't, hasn't gone well, a service issue, which is kind of interesting because it's very tongue-in-cheek. Okay. A ver, vamos a empezar aquí con el tema de, sí, how to keep a conversation rolling. And I was originally going to have you really watch the whole video on this, but it's kind of long-ish. But she had some good points, so I pulled some of the points out of the instructional video for you to shorten things up a little bit, because it got a little long in the tooth. Okay. There are four things that the person I got this idea from on the video was talking about, how to start a conversation. And you guys really don't need to practice that. You know how to start a conversation. But cómo desarrollar una conversación. That is something that often we need to think about. How to respond is important. You know, how to, when somebody initiates a conversation with you, how do you keep it going? How do you keep it rolling? How do you have, you know, a bridge between one idea and a follow-up question, all that sort of thing. So, cómo cambiar el tema y dirección, how to change the theme and the direction of a conversation. So, número uno es obvio, pero dos y tres, how to finish up a conversation, we're not really going to talk about that, but, you know, just how to say goodbye, and that's not a biggie. But I'll probably give you a link to the original video that these ideas came from so you can watch it if you're interested. It's not a must. But cómo desarrollar la conversación. If your conversation goes like this, it may start to feel a little bit like an interrogation. You know, yesterday I went to the movies. What did you see? And name the, you know, title of the movie. What hour did you go? Or time did you go? 5 o'clock. Well, that sounds a little bit like an interrogation at the police station, which you don't want a conversation to be. The interesting tidbit from the this whole idea of how to keep a conversation rolling was that rather than question, answer, you want to make sure you're asking the person something related to the information they gave you, or add your own personal experience. So an alternative to, ayer fui al cine, ¿qué película viste? Contratiempo, a way to keep that rolling could be asking them for details, meaning they feed you the idea of, I went to a movie, and you've got to run with that, okay? So one arrow, the one that goes down, is the idea of pick up what they fed you, the idea of the movies, and asking, ¿qué tipo de película es? What kind of movie is it? Or maybe, ¿de qué se trata? What is it about? ¿De qué se trata? Tratar by itself means to treat, or to try. It has many meanings. So, but se trata de means to be about. That's the phrase they use to say it is about. Okay. Por ejemplo, Field of Dreams, se trata del béisbol y en las relaciones entre un padre y un hijo. Okay. So, se trata de, to be about. Or, ¿qué crees? What do you think? ¿Qué te gustó de la película? What did you like about the movie? So, you just take the general movie thing, the idea the person gives you, and you kind of feed off of that and riff off of that. Or, another way that we keep a conversation rolling is to add our own experience, relate what you yourself have done to what that information is that they gave you. So, la verdad es que es difícil decidir en una película para toda la familia. Well, you know, yeah, going to the movies, it's hard to find something for everybody. Let's say you got little kids, you know, some movies are not appropriate. Or, la última vez que fui, the last time I went, I saw. So, the two ways of keeping a conversation rolling are to pick up on one thing they gave you and riff off of that, their information, or riff off of your own personal information. And changing the subject is kind of a different thing. I'll send you the original video so you can check out what she meant by that. One of the other difficulties she mentioned that she sees with people who are in conversation practice groups is people say, ayer fui al cine, aquí, como aquí. Ayer fui al cine. En serio, qué genial. Tengo ganas de ir al cine. Espero ir pronto. I hope to go soon. If you don't have this por cierto word and somebody just says, oh, we went to the movies. Oh, yeah, I feel like going to the movies too. I adopted a cat. That's too abrupt a change. It's too abrupt. They're like, what does a cat have to do with the movies? So when you want to change the topic, when you want to say, oh, and by the way, I wanted to mention to you that kind of transition, when you've got a transition to change the subject, but the next thing you want to say has nothing to do with the first part of the conversation, one phrase to use is por cierto. Por cierto looks like it means for sure, but what it really means is by the way. And it means you're changing the topic. Yeah. So when you do want to change the topic and you need to shift, I need to give you some other information. I know it has nothing else to do with what we just started talking about. The way you introduce that change of topic is the phrase por cierto, which is the by the way idea, or a different way, equally correct, just a different phrase that is used to do the same thing, change the topic, is cambiando de tema, which literally means changing the theme or changing the subject. Okay. So, if you want to move from the movies to talking about adopting a kitty, you got to have an introducing, connecting idea saying, oh, and you know what? There's other information not related to that I need to tell you. So, changing the subject. Those two phrases are good ways to do that. Por cierto, and then your new information not related to the first idea, or cambiando de tema. Cambiando de tema. Bien? Okay. And we've got a few ideas I would like you to work on. We're going to do number 1 together, todos juntos. And then 2 y 3, ustedes van a practicar en grupos más pequeños. I'm going to send you out into groups of like 3 or so to practice number 2 and number 3 on your own. But we're going to kind of model it with número 1. Aquí. Por ejemplo, vi un partido muy interesante de fútbol americano anoche. I saw a really interesting football game last night. And the other person might respond, picking up on the theme of football. Yeah. Veo el fútbol de vez en cuando. I watch football once in a while. De vez en cuando. Porque mi esposo es aficionado. My husband's a fan. ¿Qué equipos jugaron? What teams played? That's one way to keep it going. Okay. A continuar. What might you say after that? ¿Qué equipos jugaron anoche? What teams played? And I know it wouldn't be anoche here, but por ejemplo,
Escucho que las quarterback for la Vikings es nuevo.
Bien. Okay. Vale. I'm going to pick up on that theme. ¿Eres aficionada, Nora, de los Vikings?
Más o menos.
Más o menos, ok. Porque vives en Minnesota.
Sí.
Muchos años, sí, por muchos años y por muchos meses durante el año.
Mis vecinos les gustan los jugadores. How do you say that? Jugadores.
Los futbolistas.
Oh, sí.
Los miembros del equipo. Los miembros del equipo. Bien. Sí, hay personas que siguen, they follow, siguen con cuidado todos los partidos de un equipo y saben los nombres de todos los jugadores, saben las estadísticas, statistics, sí, de los partidos y todo eso, ¿sí? Pero tú no eres aficionada así. You're not a fan like that.
No, mi hija tienen un equipo fantasy football.
Oh,
¿Y tú, Mark?
Uh, yo no hacer fantasy football.
no haces fantasy football. Fantasy, cuando trabajé, hace como, ay, Dios mío, hace 28, 29 años trabajé con Avnet, una compañía grande en Phoenix, sí, Avnet. Y en mi oficina, en esa época, at that time period, en esa época, comenzó esta idea de fantasy football, ¿sí? Y fue algo muy popular en mi oficina, ¿sí? A participar en fantasy football era muy, muy popular en mi oficina, aún con las mujeres. Había como 3 o 4 mujeres en la oficina mía que ellas sabían todo de todos los jugadores en todos los equipos y no lo podía creer. Yo no lo podía creer que ellas sabían tanto del fútbol americano, pero fue muy popular. Yo no participé en fantasy football porque no sé mucho de todos los equipos y hay que seleccionar jugadores, sí, y todo eso, y hay apuestos, there are bets, y a mí no me, pero fue muy, muy, muy popular, aún hace casi 30 años. Ahora tenemos el fenómeno de apostar, about betting, de apostar en los deportes. Y es un negocio, ¿no? Siempre hay anuncios durante los partidos para, ¿cómo se llama? DraftKings y... Sí, hay muchas personas que tienen dinero en que sí, que depende del resultado de los partidos. Y ahora es todo un negocio. Now it's a whole business, ¿sí? Pero tú no eres aficionada, pero conoces a personas que sí son aficionados. ¿Sí? Ok, bien. Todos sabemos que Mark es gran aficionado al béisbol, especialmente el béisbol, ¿sí? ¿Hay alguien aquí que es aficionada a algún equipo, a algún deporte como tenis o básquetbol o algo así?
No, no me gusta el equipos de fútbol o béisbol, pero participé en una piscina de fútbol, piscina, a football pool.
Oh, okay.
piscina de fútbol.
Qué interesante, un momentito. Tengo que buscar. Hay un término. No podemos usar pool como piscina. En este caso, voy a buscar un momentito. Uy, qué cosa interesante. Am, solamente grupo. Un grupo. Sí. Nada más. Uy, a ver, momentito. Grupo.
Grupo de
Un
fútbol.
grupo. Nada más.
Just grupo.
Sí. Así.
Oh,
Si dices piscina, they're going to be thinking about a pool of water to go swimming in. So, football pool, ¿sí? Un grupo de fútbol. Algo más específico. So let's think of something a little more specific to add to that. Un grupo de apuesta. Apuesta es betting. So a betting group would be a pool. ¿No?
pero no puesto just chances. A squares pool.
Oh, ¿qué es un squares pool? Oh, es algo totalmente como random. Just
Sí, sí, claro.
Okay. A ver, okay.
El equipo
Por-
de
Por
Bears.
un juego de suerte. Just what? Como lotería, como una lotería.
Una lotería.
Tienes
Sí.
un espacio, tienes un número, tienes entiendo, sí. A mí no me gusta apostar. I don't really like betting. A mí no me gusta apostar, pero es muy popular. Y en el correo, a veces mi hijo recibe cartas que son como avisos, they're like ads, son como avisos de apostar en DraftKings y todas estas compañías, ¿sí? Y creo que los jóvenes de como 20 años, 25 años, con ellos es muy popular apostar dinero en estos juegos, pero él no lo hace. Así. Ok. Bueno, y no hay ninguna otra aficionada, ningún otro aficionado, no, nada de deportes. Ok.
Marilyn, can you hear me?
Sí,
This is Terry. I'm using my phone because I couldn't get on with my computer.
está bien.
I was going to try to ask you
Sí,
preguntale
dime.
su hijo que juega DraftKings hace mucho dinero.
Oh, momentito. Él recibe anuncios de DraftKings, pero no participa en DraftKings. Él cree que es una pérdida de dinero. He thinks it's a waste of money. Y no participa, pero hay una campaña, there's a campaign, una campaña muy activa entre los jóvenes, ¿sí? Es como ellos mandan anuncios a los que son jóvenes, a los que son de la edad de como target age, ¿sí? La edad que, ¿sí? Quieren inscribirse, they want to, sign up, ¿sí? A los jóvenes, pero él no participa.
Muy bien.
Pero hay hay anuncios, there are ads, sí, hay anuncios para todo eso. Y en la televisión, especialmente durante los partidos,
Ujú.
es una campaña muy activa
Mm.
para buscar clientes, to look for more customers. Pero, okay, bien. But you see how pick up an idea, and feed off of what people give you as an idea to continue. So, I think what I would like to do is to take, first of all, just this number 2 question so that you have a chance to work off of just one question first, come back, see what kind of questions you have, go back, try it again with the second question. So the first idea, and I'll want you to go run with it, as it were, when you're off in your group. And I think I'm going to give you maybe 5 to 7 minutes, 7 minutos, about 7 minutes to work it, maybe, and then come back. Hay un festival al aire libre el fin de semana, ¿sabes? Hey, there's an outdoor market or an outdoor festival. It could be a festival, it could be, and one of the topics might be talking about the kind of festival it is, where it is, when it is. So feed off of that, but feed off each other. Take an idea they say, and respond to it, or inject something you have done related to that to keep the conversation going. So el primer tema, the first theme is, hay un festival al aire libre el fin de semana, ¿sabes? Hey, there's an outdoor festival, okay? And go just with that. I'll put that into the share screen once you get into your breakout groups. But it'll give you 5 to 7 minutes of working that. I'm just making sure we've got enough people to even that out so that we give Mark's brain a chance to just rest and listen. Mark just needs to rest and listen, but that'll
You
be
don't know, I had my second knee replacement done on Monday, so
O puedes participar, or you can't. Sí, depende. But
So
everybody
I'm-
go easy on Mark.
I'm on some painkillers and kind of going in and out of sleeping.
Así es la vida, ¿sí? No podemos controlar todo. We cannot control everything. Okay, there's your join button, and I'm going to put the question into your, just number 2, solamente número 2. Okay, a ver. Boom, 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 boom. A ver, uy. Y voy a darles como 7 minutos, Creo que 7 minutos son suficientes. I think 7 minutes is going to be enough for people to let that roll a little bit. Ok. Aquí viene. ¡Oh!
Hit the button.
Me encantan los auriculares.
Ujú.
¡Qué preciosos!
Gracias.
¡Ah! ¡Wow! ¿Dónde compraste esos
Sorry, they
auriculares?
are my daughters. It's all I could find with a microphone. Sí.
¡Ah! Me
Oh, I
encantan.
think they actually like
Geniales.
tiene luz.
Son geniales las orejitas de gatitas. Ay, a ver. Ok. Ah, muy bien. Bueno. Ah,
Going back. I'm tired of talking.
sí, bien. Ok.
Okay.
Bueno. Ok. Ah, bueno, ¿hay alguna pregunta? Was there any hitch or any part where you got hung up a little or had difficulty?
I have a question.
Sí.
How do you say a city is growing? Is it crecer, to grow, or is that a plant? Okay.
Los dos, the two.
Okay.
Sí. Sí, that can be
Okay.
used for people, thing. Yeah, sí.
Okay.
Sí.
Okay. Thank you.
Sí.
I mean, gracias.
Ok, por ejemplo, en mi pueblo hay dos festivales principales donde vivo, porque vivo aquí en Fountain Hills, que es un pueblo muy pequeño. Hubo un festival el fin de pasado. Y siempre hay un festival en noviembre y otro en febrero. Y se cierran todas las calles principales en el pueblo durante el festival. El festival es magnífico para los que visitan a nuestro pueblo de Fountain Hills. Es magnífico, muy entretenido. Es un festival de arte, pero también hay bandas, hay música, hay un montón de tiendas pequeñas con comida, incluso cerveza. VFW vende cerveza, ¿sí? Pero para los habitantes que viven todo el tiempo en Fountain Hills, el festival es un lío porque es muy difícil, es un lío, es una dificultad. Es difícil. El festival es una gran fiesta para los que visitan al pueblo. El festival es un problemita para las personas que viven aquí todo el tiempo, porque no se puede manejar a ningún lado, ¿sí? Sin dificultad. Es muy difícil salir del pueblo para ir de compras, para ir al correo. Si tienes una cita con el veterinario como emergencia, olvídalo, forget it, olvídalo. Porque se cierran muchas calles en la plaza, en el centro. Así que hay que manejar, sí, así allá. Es muy difícil. Ok, vale. Pero es muy interesante y algunas de las artesanías en el festival son caras, bastante caras, pero hay otras que sí son económicas. Ok, ¿hay otras preguntas o algo así? ¿No?
Marilyn,
Sí.
when you said economicals and you were talking about the art was expensive, did you mean that you wanted to find some that was cheaper or
Barata.
just, okay, more
Eso, sí.
economic? So that's a
Sí.
good word, the cheaper. económicas.
Sí, una manera de decir cheap, que algo que no cuesta mucho es
No cu-
barato, barato, sí, pero
Barato.
hay otra palabra, económico, que es económico es igual a barato.
Ah, muy
So
bien.
it's
It
just
sounds
something you can
nicer,
use, yeah,
más simpática.
to vary your vocabulary a little bit, ¿sí? Algunas artesanías son económicas, pero otras artesanías que se venden, that they sell, que se venden, son caras. ¿Bien?
Cara.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Ah, como pinturas y fuentes, fountains, venden fuentes, venden sí, venden esculturas enormes.
Really?
Oh, sí. Hay un montón de artesanías de todo tipo, todo tipo. Hay ornamentos para el árbol de Navidad y esculturas no sé, un, una mansión. Si
Mm.
tienes si vives en una casa como un palacio y necesitas una escultura, sí, es buen lugar para comprar todo. Ok, a ver, bueno, y aquí tenemos el segundo tema. Sí, el Día de Acción de Gracias. No llegan 2 semanas, ahora llegan una semana. Ahora es una semana, ¿verdad? Llegan una semana. Tengo mucho que hacer. There is the first starter theme. Ok. Y esto pasa con todo el mundo. This happens for sure with everybody. Ok. ¿Hay alguna pregunta antes de empezar o no? No? I'll send that out to your breakout rooms. After you join, ¿por qué mis botones se ven diferentes? Sí, why are all my buttons look different here? Aquí. Bien. Vale, aquí. Ok. Por fin, finally, I found it. Lo encontré. Y aquí la pregunta, share screen. Voy a compartir la pregunta o el tema de conversación. Aquí, I think it should all be out. Did everybody get a join button? Sí, bien. Fantástico. Y mi esposo me dejó papeles de recetas. Ok. Oh, tengo que empezar mi reloj. I got to start my watch. Para saber la hora, just to know the time that I'm giving people. Okay. Y todo el mundo tiene algo que hacer para el Día de Acción de Gracias. A ver, 5 minutos más. Vale, okay, setting my next button here. We got 5 minutes. We're gonna carve off for the rest of this. And Mark, I'm giving you a join button if you want it. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. Eres muy dedicado. Eres más dedicado que yo. You are more dedicated than I.
I'm not sure what happened here, but my Zoom, I got one of those Zoom not responding, so
Oh, okay.
kind of bailed.
Huh, okay. Wow, momentito. I did send a join thing to you. It may just be kind of
Well,
glitching.
I've got it here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it now.
Okay. Bueno, nos queda acá como 1 minuto. Send out a message here so everybody knows I'll be joining back soon. Okay. A ver. Bien, bien, bien. Ah, magnífico. Ok. Hay como medio minuto. There's about a half minute left for people to finish up their ideas. Sí. Ok. Vale. Este tema es algo que pasa con todos. This is something that happens with everybody, ¿no? Un
Whoops.
momentito. Got somebody who forgot to go on.
Erica.
Unmute.
Erica.
Ah,
Get a telephone call.
sí, sí, sí. Es difícil, es difícil. Let me see. Is there a way I ooh. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to mute it. I think I'm able to mute it. Sí, bien. Ok, vale. Bueno, I hope I didn't mute everybody. No, ok. Vale, perfecto. Ok. A ver, bueno, ¿hay alguna pregunta antes de conversar un poquito aquí?
No
Del-
pregunta, but tengo hambre now.
Ah, hablar de la comida, hablar de un día festivo con mucha comida, ¿sí? Nos da ganas de comer. It gives us feeling like we want to eat, ¿sí?
¿Cómo se dice the smells?
El olor.
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 Olor. Okay.
El olor. ¡Ah! El olor de un pastel en el horno o el olor del pavo en el horno también, ¿sí?
Horno.
Sí.
Mhm.
Todavía tengo
question.
que descongelar. Sí, mi pavo, todavía está en el congelador. My turkey is still in the freezer. En el congelador. Congelador es freezer, ¿sí? Así que tengo que descongelar. Tengo que descongelar mi pavo para la semana que viene. Y se dice que, they say that, se dice que hay que sacar el pavo del congelador a una semana sí, una semana, sí. Debes dejar el pavo en la nevera, en el refrigerador, una semana entera para descongelar gradualmente, poco a poco, ¿sí? Así que durante esos días no tengo espacio en mi refrigerador con un pavo entero dentro del congelador, dentro del refrigerador. Es difícil, ¿sí? No hay espacio para otra comida. Bueno, ok. ¿Hay otra pregunta? Any other question you had coming out of that? Sí, bueno, Nora.
When I wanted to say the kids are going to stay for 3 days, do I say van a quedarse? And why do I need the say on that? Does that just
Because quedar has many, many meanings, and quedarse, making it reflexive, means to stay in a place,
okay?
as in they're sleeping over at that
Okay.
place. Whether it's a hotel or a friend's house or your family's house, see?
Quedar by itself is more to stop.
Sí,
or-
los hijos van a quedarse, they're going to stay.
Okay.
and en mi casa. And then everybody knows they're not getting a hotel. They're sleeping over at your house. Sí.
Okay.
Van a quedarse. There is another word, but it's more pertaining to a hotel specifically. And since you're not a hotel, hospedarse
Oh,
would
okay.
be hospedarse también es como lodge. We're going to stay in this lodging. Pero hospedarse se usa, and I'll write hospedarse on our screen so you know what word, because Nora, you may have encountered that someplace like on Duolingo or some such place. One other verb that the general word we use for to stay, as in stay over, sleep over, is quedarse. And that's what everybody uses in general. There is another word for that, but it kind of is more for when you're staying in a hotel. Hospedarse.
Okay.
Hospedarse means to lodge, but you're paying for it. Okay. Hospedarse indica que vas a pagar. Sí, como en un hotel o algo así. Bien. Y para hablar muy generalmente de dormir en la casa de otra persona, decimos quedarse, ¿sí? Nos quedamos con los suegros. We're staying with the in-laws. Nos quedamos con los suegros en la casa. Nos quedamos en la casa de los suegros, por ejemplo.
Okay.
¿Qué? Bien. ¿Otra pregunta o no? ¿Ya? ¿No? Jan, ¿tienes vegetales? Ok. Bien. Bueno, a ver. Entonces, let's move on. I will have like a couple things for you to prep to do the same thing next week, but with different ideas. See, con otros temas, with other themes. I do want to talk a little bit about this frases impersonales thing, because this is kind of new. Momentito. And I'll send you a video on actually these in general and subjunctive in general. And it's a brand new video that was just published this week. And it was kind of a nice take. The homework you're going to get on how to form subjunctive, which we'll talk about just generally. But this is like it'll be like a subset of this whole theme of impersonal phrases, frases impersonales. The new video that you're going to get for homework on subjunctive formation is helpful because it's really more from the perspective of an English speaker. Okay, ¿cómo se dice? La persona que habla en el video es angloparlante nativo, pero tiene una esposa que es hispanohablante. Así que la información en el video es del punto de vista de una persona que piensa en inglés, que nos vas a ayudar un poquito, ¿no? I will tell you on this whole subject of the subjunctive, when you speak to a native Spanish speaker and one who perhaps has not had much training or much background in how to speak to gringos, well, people who have a different language, people who are English speakers specifically, because it is an English problem. Many times native Spanish speakers are kind of like, why is this so difficult for you people? I don't get this. This is so obvious. And really, to anybody who speaks French, it is obvious.
Español, ahora.
Bien. Bueno, para las personas que hablan francés o alemán o algo así, es también ellos también tienen subjuntivo. Así que no es,
Hola.
no es nada raro para ellos. Pero para nosotros que hablamos inglés, la idea del subjuntivo es algo muy ajeno. It is just like out of our experience. It is really a foreign thing for English. We don't have a good thing in English to relate it to. So that's why this video will be good, because he's coming truly from the point of view of he knows where English speakers are coming from. Okay, pero frases impersonales. Vamos a practicar un poquito con esto. There are two ways we can use these. And the reason they are called impersonal phrases is because they don't refer to a human being. Es is like saying it is, or the contraction, which we usually use in English,
It
it's.
those shower things.
See? And it's doesn't refer to any human being at all. That's why it's called impersonal. So it's not talking about yo, tú, mi hermano, my brother. It's not talking about any one human being, okay? It is talking about a situation. It is, okay? That's why those are called impersonal phrases, okay? But these impersonal phrases often use this word que, and you have to watch it when it's followed by a que, because the que means we are going to introduce a human being into the formula. Okay, so you might see here are some impersonal phrases, and Marcos very kindly and thoughtfully was thinking ahead. What's another list? Because they gave you in this video that you have from last week, they gave a list, okay? But I have to tell you that there is no, there's no way I can give you a list of, well, here they all are, and this is all of them, 100% of them, yeah? They're kind of like all over the place. And sometimes even I hear somebody use one, and I think, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that, but, you know? It might be almost any kind of adjective. So that's why there's no definitive list. Here is, number 55 on the list of 70. It's almost endless. It's quite variable. So now know that sometimes you won't hear the que, and something else will happen when you don't have the que. But a lot of these are connected to a que. And so that's why I say it can be almost any adjective. It's not 100% any adjective, but almost any adjective. But this que is an important part of the formula, because the que is a red flag saying, I'm going to introduce a human being into this. So, okay, es mejor que, it's better than, es bueno que, it's good that, good is an adjective, es malo que, it's bad that, es importante que, it's important that, es necesario que, it's necessary to, es posible que, it's possible, es imposible que, it's impossible, es probable. A lot of these are, you can guess what they are. Es preferible que, it's preferable that, okay? Es increíble que, it's just incredible. I can't believe it. Yeah. Es peor que, well, it's just way worse. That es terrible que, es ridículo que. Here's one you may not know. Es dudoso que. Dudoso es doubtful. Okay. Es dudoso. It's doubtful. That. Es una lástima que. It's a shame that. And most of these you can figure out. Es raro que can mean either it is rare that or it is weird that, because raro can mean weird, odd, unusual, strange. Yeah. Es recomendable que, es imprescindible que, es imprescindible is the same thing as necesario, only it's a little more, ¿cómo se dice? Urgente. It's a little more forceful. Es imprescindible. It's like 100% you got to do this. That's imprescindible. See? Esencial. Urgente. Es urgente que. It's urgent that. Es curioso que. It's curious that. It can be almost, but not 100%, almost any kind of adjective with que if I introduce a human being after that word que. All right. And the impersonal part is this es with the adjective thing. Okay. These will always, when I have a que, they will always take a subjunctive. Okay. So I give you some examples here. Es una lástima que Daniel venda su casa. It's a shame that Daniel is selling his house. Gee, I love that house. Oh, where is he going to go? Oh, this house was so pretty. Why is he leaving it? You know. Es una lástima que Daniel venda su casa. It's a shame that he's selling his house. But notice what odd thing happens with this verb. Vender, verb becomes venda. And this has to happen with impersonal phrases. Okay. Why? Well, because impersonal phrases are a trigger, meaning they are a whoops, watch out for something coming up, and they're a trigger because es una lástima que doesn't mean that this is really happening right now. It might, it's often representing an opinion of the person, but not necessarily something that is happening at this exact minute as a part of what is really happening. And English does not have a good comparable structure. English does many different kinds of things. We might say it's a shame that Daniel is selling his house. It's a shame that Daniel has to sell his house. It's a shame that Daniel is going to sell his house. But really, the single best way of saying that in Spanish is to use an impersonal phrase. Es una lástima que Daniel venda su casa. But the odd thing is this verb after the word que, the verb after the que, the verb after the que is going to be in subjunctive, and that means it's going to look like it's conjugated wrong. Okay. And the video you're going to have for homework is going to like deep dive into what those subjunctive forms are. All it essentially means is that you flip or you switch the AR endings into the ER-IR endings. You switch the ER-IR verbs into AR endings.
Were commands the same? We learned about commands a year ago or so.
And yes, and it is exactly like it is almost 100%.
And I wanted to shoot myself.
It is very much like commands. Commands do that too, because commands are in that same world of, this is a conceptual thing. A command means I'm telling somebody to do it, but that action isn't in fact happening right now.
Okay.
And that's why Spanish uses subjunctive to talk about something, an activity that is not part of what is really going on in our experience right now. You might want it to happen. You might order somebody to do it. You might say, gee, it's a good idea that you do it. But it isn't really happening right now. It might happen 5 seconds from now. It might happen 5 days from now. It might never happen. We don't know. It's in this.
I might understand it this time.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. You know, and my one of my college professors used to say, I don't understand why you English people have such a hard time understanding the subjunctive. You just use it when you need it. All you do is you use it when you need it. And it's like, well, what the blankety blank does that mean? You use it when you need it. You'll know. Well, sadly, she was right. You'll know, but you'll know because you heard a bunch of other people use it. Oh, that's when they do it. But there are a lot of situations where this is injected. So this is one of the situations where it comes into play. So you really just need to, and this is one of the many scenarios because the difficulty is knowing the many scenarios. One of the scenarios is these impersonal phrases with a que, and then I have to have a human being coming into the scene. Es probable que vayamos a la reunión. It's probable that we're going to the meeting. Or in English, you're probably more likely to phrase it as, we're probably going to the meeting. Okay? Pero en español, una manera de expresar esta idea de probabilidad, pero no sabemos por seguro, we don't know for sure, si es probable que vayamos a la reunión. And those vayamos kind of looks like vamos, but it has an amos ending and it's an ER verb. Okay, so yeah, but this is one of the irregulars anyway. So the key is the verb at the que will be in subjunctive. That subjunctive form is going to use the opposite set of conjugations from what you're used to. Now, the little trick, el truco, is that the one way that you won't get subjunctive wrong, and you'll see more about this in the video, is that the key is use the opposite ending from what is right in indicative and plain old present tense, and start with the yo verb. Start with the yo form of the verb in present tense first. Get rid of the o and then use that opposite ending. And except for the very small group of irregulars, you'll get it right. And the reason you got to start with yo is that, por ejemplo, for example, a verb like decir. Decir is an IR verb, so you know it's going to have to use an AR ending for the subjunctive, yeah? But what you have to know is that I have to start with that digo, that yo form. Start with digo, get rid of the o at the end, right? And then add a endings. Diga, digas, diga, digamos, digan. There's your subjunctive. So if you start from the yo presente form, you can't go wrong, except for a couple irregulars, and you'll see what those are later. Okay, otro ejemplo. Es posible que Mario pueda hacerlo. O es imposible, perdón. Es imposible que Mario pueda hacerlo. It's impossible. This is another way of kind of saying, Mario just cannot. There's no way Mario can do this. Yeah, can do it. Lo. Es imposible que Mario pueda hacerlo. This activity of he can do it, whatever it is, washing the car, cleaning up something, no sabemos, we don't know, finishing his report. This is not in the realm of it's really happening. Okay? Es imposible tells us that, in fact, it's even impossible. There's no way. So this activity, it ain't happening. No way, no how. And that's why it has to go into subjunctive. Okay. Es posible que llueva mañana. Possible that it's raining tomorrow. We might say in English that it might rain tomorrow. It possibly will rain tomorrow. There are different things we do in English, but in Spanish, this is a very common thing. Es posible que llueva mañana. It's possible that it's raining tomorrow. Well, it's not tomorrow. So that activity of llover, to rain, it's not occurring at this moment. It's not part of the real activity of the world. Okay. A ver.
Marilyn, on that one, the K is in there, but is it sort of for like it will be raining as opposed to a person?
Yeah, there's no person in that verb llover is just talking about a precipitation event, and it only gets conjugated one way. It doesn't get conjugated for a human being, because I don't rain and you don't rain and we don't rain. Yeah. Llover is just, it rains. And llueve means it's happening right now, or it generally happens as a pattern. Yeah. But llueva, we take the opposite ending. Because it's not tomorrow yet, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's why the subjunctive happens, because this activity of llueva is not occurring in real time now. Okay. Dos ejemplos más aquí. Es ridículo que esa Karen, sí, se queje tanto. It's ridiculous that Karen complains so much. Apologies to the nice Karens of the world, because there are nice Karens. Okay. Quejarse es to complain. But if you have this idea of es ridículo que, you're kind of injecting your own personal opinion, which doesn't necessarily affect whether that human being who is a cranky person is going to bellyache or not. Es ridículo que, and now I put a person in, I need subjunctive. It's just a pattern that they use. Es bueno que los niños lean en su tiempo libre. It's good that kids read in their free time. And I'm just putting a value judgment on it. It's good that kids read. Not all kids read. Some do, some don't. So this is kind of just out there in la la land, like kids might be doing this or they might not be doing this. And that is what all these impersonal phrases are. They're making a value judgment, or they're saying that something is likely or not likely, but it isn't really happening yet necessarily. Okay. All right. So this que, and then I put a human being in. That's what determines that we get into that subjunctive structure. Okay. If I take out the word que, but I just use es una lástima vender esta casa, if I take out the word que and I don't like put a specific person in there, I can just stick with es una lástima vender esta casa. I can stick with the plain old infinitive, no conjugation at all for vender. And then it's just talking about anybody in general, but nobody who is named. And because there's no que standing there as a red flag, and because there is no person named, it means it's out there, just it's in the vacuum. It's just out there. Anybody in general. And we can keep it as an infinitive then. Es una lástima vender esta casa. I'm not naming Daniela anymore. It's a shame to sell the house. It's a shame for anybody to sell the house. Anybody. Es imposible hacer esto. It's impossible to do this. Not it's impossible that somebody does it, a specific person, for anybody at all. Es posible salir. It's possible to get out, to leave, to go out. Okay. Es ridículo quejarse tanto. It's ridiculous to complain so much, but I am not pointing to you. Or I'm not talking about, that cranky person. Yeah. It's ridiculous for anybody to do this. And I don't name the person. See? Es bueno leer en su tiempo libre. It's good to read in your free time, in one's free time, meaning anybody at all. So all these same impersonal phrases, all these same ones if I take out the K and I don't name a person, they just go back to the infinitive. So they do two different things. Okay. So the only thing you need to know as a cautionary is that this idea of es with almost any adjective means what percentage? Como 95%, 95%, like 95% of the adjectives. 95. Okay. Here's the 5% that aren't. And there probably are a couple I'm not thinking of, but anything that talks about truth or for sure. If something goes from unsure or opinion into, oh, this is really happening, it's true, then I can't use subjunctive. Okay. But this is a really short list. It's a short list because there aren't that many words that express it's true. Okay, so what are some that do? Es verdad que, it's true that. And now I am saying this is real, folks. Es verdad que Daniel vende. Por ejemplo, es verdad. Hey, it's true that Dan is selling the house. Es verdad que Daniel vende su casa. Now I'm saying, I know that is really happening. And I have to go back into plain old vanilla flavor, present tense, verb, no subjunctive, because I'm saying it is happening. Okay. Es verdad que Daniel vende su casa, pero es posible que Daniel venda su casa. Es probable que Daniel vende su casa. I don't know for sure. Or I'm putting a value judgment. Es malo que Daniel venda su casa. Whenever I put an opinion or uncertainty, opinion and uncertainty, say, ooh, we're going to put it into subjuntivo, subjunctive, but for sure puts it into plain old present tense. See, the other phrase that would be frequent be something like es cierto que. So here's our other 5% that's not subjunctive, because es cierto que means the same thing as verdad que. It's for certain that. It's true that. Cierto means true, certain, 100%. Yes, that's cierto. And, ¿por qué tengo un? I don't know why I've got that word un in there. Es seguro. Es seguro. Es seguro que. Es seguro que. It's sure that. If it's true, certain, sure, that's 100%. So that means it's real. All these things go back to plain old present tense with no subjunctive because it's for real. It's happening. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And negating any of those goes back to subjunctive. Okay. So yeah, we're not going to like dwell on this part of it because it starts to get people's brains the tape turned to mush. But so your brain doesn't turn to mush. Just know anything that talks about certainty. Okay. It'll go off into that, that subjunctive. But do know if we don't name a human being and we've got an impersonal phrase, if we don't name a human being, we can just easily use that plain old, infinitive after these impersonal phrases. Okay. And this is one of many ways that subjunctive might be used in Spanish. Okay. Subjunctive is something that is often introduced kind of late in the game. People study about present and past and future and like all kinds of stuff. And then they say, now you're ready for subjunctive. But in reality, to be very honest, it's a good idea to dip your toe into the pool of subjunctive a little bit because people in real life use it a lot. Okay. Por ejemplo, espero que ustedes tengan un buen fin de. I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you have it. This is not the impersonal phrase, but it's another trigger for subjunctive. And people will often say, oh, hope you have a nice day. And they shorten it and they leave out the I hope that. Que tengas buen día. May you have a good day. Que tengas buen día. But that little que thing, it's often a flag, not 100%, but it's often a flag for a subjunctive when we name a human being. So it's a good idea to know subjunctive because it's used like in a regular conversation with any, Tom, Dick, or Harry on the street. It'll pop up like 30-40% of the time. A lot, kind of a lot in a normal conversation. So the thing you need to know about with subjunctive is that you're just going to use an opposite vowel, but start with the yo verb and you're good from there. And there are going to be a few irregulars. So I'm going to, as a parting shot, add on just a couple of the irregulars that you will hear. And the irregulars will be with a few verbs. And by irregular, it means you can't start with the yo form, like I told you, and then just switch out the vowel because it's going to be like. And here are the verbs that do that. And it's not a long list. And the last one, you won't even really use that much. But the other ones you might. Okay, so dar can't start with yo because dar, the yo form is doy, and doy ends in a Y. So I got no O to take off. Okay, but it is going to use the opposite from the AR forms. So it'll be this, de. Yay! Fácil, easy, yeah. That doesn't look like an AR ending. Well, it's not because it's subjunctive. Here's a base for ir, vaya. Kind of looks like boy, sort of. Except it's vaya. Ser, the base form will be sea. Estar, the base form will be este. Yeah, and you can see ser, an ER verb, still gets an a ending. Yeah. Estar, which is an AR verb, still gets an, it gets an a, the opposite vowel, ending. Okay. Saber becomes this oddball thing, sepa. And I'll talk about this for a minute. Saber is useful for this. Many times people will say, oh, just so you know. Just so you know. And this is probably all you need to know about the verb saber in subjunctive. We often, in Spanish and English, say, hey, just so you know, ooh, they changed the train schedule. Yeah, something like that. Just so you know, we changed the reservation for a different time. Yeah, just so you know. And there's a little phrase that we always use with that. And this is all you need to know. Para que sepas. Para que sepas. So that you may know. So that, and in English, we say, just so you know. Right? Meaning you don't know now, but I'm giving you a clue. I'm giving you a heads up. And all you need to know is this phrase, para que sepas, just so you know. Okay. So there is going to be the base forms. And of course, you'll have the yo form will be de. The él, ella, usted form will also be de. The tú form will be des, right? Nosotros form will be demos. The ellos, ellas forms will be den. Yeah, these kind of make sense. But they're like ER endings on the AR verb dar, right? See? So these are the irregulars. And we say dishes because it helps you remember which verbs do that. So vaya will be the form for yo. Vaya will also be the form for él, ella, usted. But we just put an S on the end for tú. Vayas, right? For nosotros, we'll have vayamos. And for ellos, ellas, ustedes, we'll have vayan. Yay. Okay, that's not too hard. So forming subjunctive is not really that bad, except you're using an opposite vowel. Ser, sea will be the form for yo. Sea will also be the form for él, ella, usted. They share forms, but tú will be seas para, seas, seamos, and sean. Yeah. Okay. Estar, you can start to guess what that is going to be. Este is for yo. Este is the same form for él, ella, usted, but the tú form will be estés. And estemos will be our nosotros form, and estén. Para ellos, ellas, ustedes. ¿Sí? And I'll put in our saber, but you probably don't really need all that much. Ooh, the tú form will be sepas, right? Nosotros form will be sepamos. And the ellos, ellas, ustedes form will be sepan. But, here's what you need to know about saber. There's a phrase, and it's just a phrase that people throw out when they're saying, oh, I know you're not aware, so I'm going to tell you there's a change. Para que sepas, ¿sí? Bien. So there are las formas irregulares. No puedo escribir, no puedo deletrearla. Irregulares del subjuntivo. And here are what they consider truly irregular because they're not based on the form for yo. Okay. That's all you need to know there. Okay. Bien. Vale. Here's the video that you'll be watching, and he will helpfully explain to you how you form subjunctive. So he's going to give you a real in-depth. There are going to be some odd things. The closer you get to the end of this video, para que sepan, so you know, para que sepan, the closer you get to the end of the video, the more he gives you exceptions or like irregularities that are really odd and you don't need to focus on a lot. So, by the time you get to the last 2 minutes, your brain will start to say, oh no, here's an irregular thing. Okay, kind of, but put those in the background because that isn't going to be most verbs. Yeah. You want to know how to use this for most verbs. That's all. Not to know every single exception to every single rule because it just isn't necessary. Okay. So you'll get that. We'll do a little practice with that next week, and we'll take a look at some examples next week so you can warm up with some examples and you'll get some speaking themes. We did not get a chance to go over this video. I imagine you've got some questions about this video. See? Bien? I want you to watch again, and I want you to watch and notice when I want you to listen to this again and listen for some examples where they use some of the subjunctive. They won't all necessarily be impersonal phrases. You'll see it come up in other situations. As a matter of fact, I think I'll make an accompanying slide set that's going to show you where it pops up here. And you'll be surprised how often it pops up. But in every place where it pops up, it's going to be talking about kind of a purgatory, a la-la land, a not for sure event. Yeah? See? Bien? So I'm going to have you listen again with an ear to that. I'm going to ask you honestly, with Thanksgiving coming up, is that enough to do? We don't need any more videos because people are busy. Ustedes están ocupadas o ocupados, ¿no? Bien, sí, es suficiente. Okay, vale, bien. Eso es todo. That'll be it. go back because it'll be something you know the general idea of the video, but I'll give you some tags for listening a little more closely for these nuances of actions that kind of aren't for sure. Okay, bien. Eso es todo. That's about it for today. Eso es todo para hoy, ¿verdad? Y nos vemos la semana que viene. I hope I see most of you. If you are busy next week with holiday preparations, entiendo perfectamente. Pero espero que podamos vernos. I hope we can see each other, sí. Espero que podamos vernos la semana que viene, sí. Y espero que ustedes tengan buen fin de semana. Bien. Espero que
too.
ustedes tengan buen fin de semana. Bien, perfecto.
Acá
Y-
también.
Sí, y nos
Gracias.
vemos más tarde, bien, sí.
Gracias.
Luego, sí.
Gracias.